Hello everybody, welcome. I'm No02, and thank you for watching this video. I at this point in time have completed Solo No Hope for Act 5. The guides will be coming in the near future. But this is the deck that I did it with. And just sort of as a disclaimer right now, just not to worry you guys, I am well aware that the duffel bag grind to unlock cards is a real thing. I have collected at least 30 duffel bags at this point in time, and I have unlocked a total of 2 cards from the expansion. I've gotten a bunch of empty duffel bags. I've gotten skins that I've already owned. A little irritating, I understand. So, don't worry though. You can beat Act 5 Solo No Hope without any of the new cards. The first couple of decks that I will be putting out there to help you do that will not include any of the new cards. Not because I don't have them, but more because you probably don't have them either. So this is the deck that I use. I did it live on stream. If you want to check out that stream, I have the link in the description of this video, where I beat Act 5 Solo No Hope with this deck here, and we did it live. Some interesting choices here. Some different perception, I think, that when it comes to Act 5 here. Hazard pay per standard. Just to clarify again, right, I've checked again at this point in time. I've checked again. Share the Wealth does not trigger properly with the bots. You do not get the 300 copper from your bots. The money disappears. It goes nowhere. The bots never get it. It doesn't exist. Hazard pay will net gain you 100 copper per mission. So, Hazard pay, I still think is the best copper card overall. Though there might be some potential with Dan's wealth pickup thing, where you might be able to, I don't know, cheese it, or at the very least occasionally get extra piles of copper. Maybe giving an argument for money grubbers still. But I think the consistency here of hazard pay is still just super good. Super good, super reliable. Again, when it comes to money grubbers, you need a Cost of Avarice mission every 3 missions, otherwise hazard pay will eventually outpace money grubbers in the long run. A Pinata. Another thing to note here is that the patch notes and what is said here in the card are not lining up. In the patch notes, it said that Pinata was 10% chance to drop an accessory, which we have here. In addition to that, in the patch notes, it said that there would be a 1% increase in chance to drop an accessory per AI that's been eliminated. That is not reflected here at all on the card, so I don't know if it's active or not. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if the patch notes was the original iteration of Pinata, and then in the last minute they decided to nerf it even further to the point that we see it here. I don't know what's true or not. Trust no one. But this is Pinata. And it's still a super solid card. It's still a great card. You might feel the drop chance a little bit here being reduced. But it's saying that's all RNG in the long run. For the most part, if you threw a particularly juicy grenade or Molotov pipe bomb, what have you, before you would get like 2 to 3 items on average, I think, with Pinata. Now you're probably getting about 1 to 2 items on average. Getting nothing I would consider bad luck. If you get a nice big old juicy grenade blowing up 10 plus things, not getting anything is bad RNG. But for the most part, if you do have a well-timed Pinata, for the most part, it ends up being you throw something, you get something back. It's a lottery. We love it. Magician's Apprentice. I've been playing around with this card. It's pretty cool when it goes off. I've been playing a lot of Hang right now, just because he's the next in line for me to get the 250 missions completed or whatever. So it's been fun to play this with Hang particularly, but I will make an argument that Offensive Scavenger is probably better. Probably more reliable, more consistent. At least it synergizes better with Fire in the Hole. It mentions Apprentice, complete RNG. So the nice thing is, right, you throw a grenade, you get to keep it if it triggers, and you don't have to worry about looting. You don't have to worry about like coming across non-grenades when you get Offensive Scavenger. So there's some benefit here. Also, when it comes to like toolkits, bandages, there's also the benefit there. So, but I will say that Magician's Apprentice or Offensive Scavenger, your pick, both are super solid, both are super good. Offensive Scavenger in the long term will be synergized better with Fire in the Hole, because even if you're not finding use out of everything you come across. If you're in a position to just loot and scoot, pick up that flashbang, you toss it, you leave it behind. Or you pick it up, you toss it, pick up your grenades, and you keep going, and you just bank that temporary health, right? And also, too, when it comes to, like, in this instance where I mained grenades, always had grenades, coming across the occasional flashbang in particular, I had flashbang on the brain, you might want to keep it sort of like in your back pocket, keep in mind where it is in case you get a hag or get a breaker. You can just run back to the flashbang, set up there, wait for them to show up, and then you can flashbang them appropriately, prevent the horde that is triggered, and deal with the boss way more efficiently that way. So Offensive Scavenger, I think overall is going to be a better choice for Magician's Apprentice, but this is the exact deck that I beat Act 5 with, so it's in the deck here. But consider Offensive Scavenger over Magician's Apprentice. Get the Grenade Pouch, Bomb Squad, and provides explosives. We have these two cards here because it gives us just enough grenade damage to deal with Hardened Tallboys and the bosses eventually. We start off with our vanilla grenades being able to one-shot most of the Tallboy variants because at that point, most of them aren't hardened. So if they are, crap. Or at least the Tallboys, right? As you level up your grenades, gives you just enough grenade damage, just enough multiplicity, multiplication that allows your grenades to do pretty good damage. Especially if a bot goes down, you can chunk bosses super duper well. You can even down bots on purpose to boost your damage, and all of that damage is multiplicative with each other, which is why we have the two different damage types that affect our grenades. So just enough to give us the ability to eventually grenade dump bosses as we need to and things like that. And if you do end up getting purple grenades, a lot of the time I find that if you get a direct hit onto a hardened Tallboy, there's still a chance to stumble it, especially if you light it up with Shredder first, and if your teammates are also shooting it, your bots are shooting it too. Gives you a chance to stumble hardened Tallboys, which is actually quite hard to do. Fire in the hole, we have lots of things to throw, so lots of health, as well as a oh crap, we're getting swarmed, throw a grenade at your feet. The temporary health helps absorb some of that damage. And you can sprint real fast for a couple of seconds to get the heck out of there. Run like hell and dash. Having these two cards gives you just barely enough sprint speed to sort of deal with the blitzing zombies. For the most part, I actually think they're slightly faster than us, or we're about even pace with them. So when it comes to run like hell and dash, we have just enough wiggle room to either sort of like keep pace with them or just barely outmaneuver them, but having the ability to sort of infinitely kite them, pretty dang hard with just these two cards for the most part. But so long as you take good lines and things like that and move smartly, you can get away with having only these two movement speed cards. They're sort of necessary for the end finale, where we have to run around and plant the 3 bombs. Really nice to have it there. Also really nice at the end of the prison escape, where you get stuck in the arena. That sort of final section sometimes is an infinite horde, and sometimes it's not. But anyways, you need to run around there a little bit too. So a little extra sprint speed goes a long way. Superior cardio. In the long term, the sprint efficiency grows exponentially in value the more stamina you have. And finding extra stamina over the course of a run is relatively easy. You pick up basic cards. There's lots of cards that give stamina in general, so if you come across a card box and it has extra stamina, it can be a good consideration to buy. Just sort of naturally, superior cardio gets stronger over time, simply because you naturally get more stamina over time as the run goes. Even if it's 1 or 2 cards, it's all technically 20% improved because of this card here. Cold Brew Coffee. We like the use speed, and honestly, I wish I could fit more use speed into this deck, but I just can't warrant it. You could potentially run Screwdriver, or maybe Headband Magnifier. Look at all the use speed cards here, right? The reason why we care about the use speed, just in general, when I'm talking about it, is because of the bear traps. Granted, as we play and get better and stronger, and I assume they might nerf bear traps in the future, because right now bear traps can literally spawn underneath you. The use speed is actually going to save you health per bear trap, essentially. I was running multi-tool and Headman Magnifier at one point in time, and you can get out of a bear trap with only 3 stacks of bleed. With cold brew coffee, you can get out of a bear trap with about 4 or 5 if you're really quick on the button. And each stack of bleed is just more damage over time, right? So we like the use speed simply because of the bear traps. There's also a lot of like, I do like Act 5 in that there is a lot of opportunity to use speed, even though a lot of it isn't quite as crucial as loading a field cannon per se, right? But there's all the breaching charges that we plant on pretty much like every mission, it feels like. So there's ends up being a lot of mileage out of the use speed, especially if you end up in a situation where you are running for your life and you get gated a lot of the times by a door that needs to have you plant a thing on it. That extra 25% has really does take the edge off as far as allowing you to sort of plant that under pressure potentially. You can even like throw a grenade at your feet for the speed boost, blow up what's chasing you, jump to the door, unlock it just in time, get in a corner, hunker down, stuff like that. So we do really want at least one use speed card, I think, in Act 5. And when it comes to general use speed, Cold Brew Coffee is top tier. Reload speed, aim speed, swap speed, all things that we love. Incredible card, great card, love this card. I think it's a super solid card. Super solid card. Sort of a card I feel like a lot of people overlook. But these are just like the quality of life that this card provides is really. Now, Shredder. Adding to our grenade damage overall, but we have Shredder and Admin Reload specifically here because it feels like, I don't know if it's bugged or if it's intentional, but there seems to be a lot of just like random zombie hordes. They're also spawning mutations with them, and there's no auditory cue. Like there's no audio. But I'm sure you've all experienced it, especially in No Hope mode, it feels like, where you're just like going through the map, and then zombies start spawning literally around corners, all around you, coming around the bus and around that corner and jumping off the building, and they're all sprinting straight at you. That's a horde. That's a horde event. But there's no audio cue for it. It's quite annoying. I don't know what's happening. Peeves me a lot. It peeves me quite a bit. But because of that reason, sometimes I feel that you do get into an actual horde event, you get the audio cue, and then it feels like it just lasts a long time, and it keeps going, and it chains together, and I feel like these, like, invisible horde events are, like, stacking into the normal horde events, because it feels like just everything lasts longer. It feels like there's, for the most part, pretty much constant combat in a lot of these missions. In addition to that, two of our 3 new mutations are ranged, with the bow and arrow and the guy who throws the stuff, and the Shredder guy. Even though he's melee, we want to deal with him at range because he slaughters the bots. Absolutely slays the bots. The bleed damage stacks in No Hope mode is insane. And so because of the sort of like what feels like just near constant combat, I found a lot of places where I just like, I need to keep shooting so that I can keep pushing forward. Because every time I reload, I need to like stop in melee or back up or have to maneuver in a different way. Push on, push forward. Admin Reload's going to help you do that. And when it comes to dealing with like the Shredder and the other 2 new mutations, like I needed the most bang for your buck damage card, because those guys, dealing with those guys at range is so much better. If they get on top of you or if they start throwing stuff at you, it just feels like you get stuck forever. And so Shredder is multiplicative with our grenade damage, but also too helps the bots do more damage, and it felt like Shredder was doing a significant amount of damage or bonus damage to the bosses, to the breaker, when the bots focus in and start shooting their guns. So between Shredder and Admin Reload, we end up sort of like having like the most basic kit possible to keep near constant fighting, as well as producing enough damage to drop those mutations pretty quickly, or at least fast enough, because a lot of times too, you're pushing through the constant horde event that feels like on every map. If a mutation shows up, you end up having to back up, and it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. The Shredder helps negate that a little bit by hopefully allowing you to drop those mutations quicker than you normally would, allowing you to just keep pushing your way through. Also too, with Admin Reload, I actually really like this. As far as the map design is concerned, there is not a lot of really good holdout spots in any of these missions. There's a couple here or there, but the maps are designed in a way where there's just zombies jumping off roofs and climbing up out of this and over that, and there's no really super solid corner for you to stand on because sometimes they are just literally coming out of everywhere. Pretty cool to see, pretty difficult problem to solve. Admin Reload helps solve that, because even if you don't have a really good corner to stand in, a really good place to funnel the zombies through, you can still sort of hunker down where you are and just sort of like, just keep shooting. Non-stop, keep shooting with Admin Reload, allowing you to deal with the hordes out in the open more easily. And then Fresh Bandage. I've come to love Fresh Bandage. If you're not running Fresh Bandage, you're God tier, or you're running more copper cards, or something like that, right? For the most part, though, if you don't make any major mistakes, you never have to use a medicine cabinet. Which I love. Because other than running some other card that's going to help you deal with trauma, the only solution for it is medicine cabinets. That can be quite costly. There's no free use. You have to depend on maybe toolkits, things like that. But I love alleviating the copper expense of not having to use a medicine cabinet over time, because we have Fresh Bandage. I almost view Fresh Bandage as like a second value card, as a second copper card, because almost inherently, very naturally, you're going to be taking a little bit of damage here or there slowly over time. Eventually, it feels like you have to use at least a cabinet at least once, right? That's 400 copper saved, 400 copper spent towards more grenades, spent towards an extra upgrade, things that can be way more valuable to you. Extra grenade slots means you may not take as much damage later on. So I actually just really value Fresh Bandage right now, because as long as you don't make any major mistakes, you'll never have to use a medicine cabinet. You'll never have to spend copper on healing yourself at the beginning of each mission. Things like that. Really quite nice. And so I actually found Fresh Bandage to be a really nice quality of life card. I'm actually starting to include it in almost all of my decks, especially in solo queue with random people. Sometimes you don't have a solid support player, and like Fresh Bandage and Admin Reload is like all you need to keep yourself healthy during a mission and in between missions, things like that. So this is the deck that I used to beat ACT-5 solo No Hope. Again, link in the description for the live stream that I demonstrated using this deck. I think I'll have it timestamped as to exactly where the run began, because we played around with the deck a little bit before we got there. So, comments, ideas, appreciate it. Keep up the duffel bag grind out there, guys. I wish you the best of luck with the rolls. Hope you get your cards soon. And I'll see you guys in the future.